Plate margins and volcanoes. So when tectonic plates meet, we call it a plate margin or a plate boundary. The three types of plate margin are destructive, constructive, and conservative margins. So let's take a look at those three types. Let's start with constructive margins. Now, at constructive plate margins, the plates move apart. This is also known as when they diverge. So they diverge when they move apart, and this is what constructive plates do. The convection currents basically diverge and cause a gap between the plates, and the magma rises up to fill the gap that is created there. Now let's look at conservative plate margins. At conservative plate margins, the plates are sliding past each other. And these plates are made out of rock with jagged edges, and they catch and can snag against one another. This friction and pressure between these plates then builds up until the plates can't take the stress, which then means they slip past each other, causing both plates to move. But then this can also cause the ground to shake, which causes an earthquake. Finally, let's look at destructive plate margins. Now, the oceanic plate slides beneath the continental plate, and the point at which this happens is called a subduction zone. The rocks then catch against one another as the plates are not smooth surfaces. The pressure between the plates can build until the plates can't take the stress, and they slip past each other, at which point both plates can move and the ground may shake, which causes an earthquake. So what are the types of plate margin? They are destructive, conservative, and constructive. At the constructive plate margin, plates are moving away from each other. At the conservative plate margin, plates are moving sideways past each other. And at the destructive plate margin, plates are moving towards each other. Let's have a look at volcanoes. So a volcano is an opening in the Earth's crust that's caused when magma rises from inside the Earth and then erupts onto the surface. There are two types of plate margins that volcanoes can be formed at. These are constructive and destructive plate margins. Destructive plate margins, as the denser oceanic plate is forced under the continental plate at destructive margins. This is also known as subduction. The friction and pressure then cause cracks to form in the continental plate, and the magma rises up through these cracks. This usually produces lots of highly explosive volcanoes, which an example of this is Mount Vesuvius in Italy, otherwise known as the eruption that happened in Pompeii, and these produce a lot of gas and lava. Now, lava is just another way of saying magma. They are different things. Lava is magma above the surface, and magma is below the surface of the Earth. So, a hotspot is another way to place a volcano can form, and this is not at a plate margin. Instead, this is a hot mass of rising heat under a weakness in the plate, and magma rises to the surface through this weakness. An example of volcanoes that formed as part of hotspots are the volcanoes in Hawaii, which all formed as a result of a mid-Pacific hotspot. And finally, constructive plate margins. So, like destructive, this is actually a plate margin compared to a hotspot, which is not at a plate margin. So, constructive plate margins, plates move apart, diverge, and the convections and the currents in the mantle diverge and cause a gap between the plates. Magma then rises up to fill this gap with the volcano. And these types of volcanoes are really common in Iceland. So you've got destructive ones, where one's subducting and that's causing the volcano, and constructive ones where they are diverging and magma's rising up and that's causing the volcano, as well as hotspots, obviously. So let's think about what are the characteristics of volcanoes at destructive plate margins. Well, they produce a lot of gas, they produce a lot of lava, and they're highly explosive. So let's focus a little bit more on hotspots then. So a volcano, as we discussed, is a rising opening in Earth's crust. Hotspots, this is caused by hot, massive rising heat under weakness in the plate, and the magma rises up to the surface through this weakness. The Hawaiian Islands are all formed as part of this in a mid-Pacific hotspot, so that's in the Pacific Ocean, and a volcano forms. What actually happens when a volcano erupts? So it can produce lots of different things, including lava. As I was saying before, lava is magma, but it's above the surface. So you've always got to call it magma when it's below the surface, which is just molten rock. And when this molten rock is above the surface, it's then called lava. The volcanoes also emit a lot of gases, and one example of this is sulfur. Ash is a big thing that volcanoes produce and often are quite famous for. Ash is these tiny pieces of burnt rock fragments, and they're blown into the atmosphere, usually at sunfalls. And these they can fall on land, and they can float in the air to block out the sun and cause all sorts of havoc. Now, also what's formed are these pyroclastic flows, which are currents of hot ash, lava, and gas, and can move downhill at speeds of up to 500 kilometers an hour during an eruption, which is incredibly fast and really, really, really dangerous to humans and animals and anything that's nearby. They are impossible to outrun. Can reach temperatures of up to almost 1,000 degrees and can cover distances of 30 kilometers from the volcano. So, if you see a pyroclastic flow, well, good luck. So, which of these is not a product of volcanic eruptions? We've got ice, lava, gases, and ash. And obviously, given the temperatures, I think ice is pretty obviously not. So, what happens at destructive plate margins? Well, it starts with the oceanic plate sliding beneath the continental plate at the subduction zone. Then the rocks catch against one another as the plates are not smooth surfaces. Then the pressure between the plates builds up until the plates can't take stress. Finally, past each other, and as a result, the ground might shake, aka causing an earthquake. And then, what do we call an opening in the earth crushed? Is it an ocean trench, a sea, a volcano, or a valley? It's not an ocean trench, it's a volcano. A volcano is formed when magma rises from inside the earth and erupts onto the surface. So now there are several different products of volcanic eruptions. First, we've got pyroclastic flows, we've got lava, we've got gas, we've got ash. And the pyroclastic flows are these kinds of hot ash, gas, and lava that can move downhill at speeds of up to 500 kilometers an hour during an eruption.